Hello friends, welcome back to our course Database Management Systems KMB IT04. This is Unit 3 which covers the topic Structured Query Language, which is based on DBMS called Oracle, and this is the part 1 of this particular unit. We'll have two parts. This is part 1 and then we'll have the part 2. If we see what we are covering in this, you can have the idea. So here the topic of discussion of Unit 3. The part 1 covers your creating tables, applying column constraints, inserting rows, and in part 2 you will have view snapshots, indexes and sequences, cursor, triggers, procedures, uses of built function and packages. So this is part 1. If we see here, so we have to start one language called SQL, because once you start doing something like say creating tables, inserting records, for that you need a language. The language is called SQL or structured query language. So if someone asks you what is SQL, so this is called SQL stands for structured query language. So most of the DBMS, maybe we discussed in the earlier session also, DBMS, we can have Oracle, we can have MySQL, we can have MongoDB, or we can have someone else. So most of these databases use SQL for their database management. So it provides a set of commands to interact with data in database. It is standardized by International Organization for Standards, that is called ISO. You may have heard about ISO standards. So this is standard from ISO. So this is one more important. This is case insensitive. You can write in uppercase, you can write in mixed case or the lower place. It doesn't matter. So this course is basically specific to Oracle. So here whatever command we are using, they can mostly run on Oracle. So here is the SQL commands. What are the different kind of SQL statements or the commands we can have? So SQL commands are also called SQL statements. So SQL statements can be of four types. They could be DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. DDL stands for data definition language. DML stands for data manipulation language. DCL, data control language. And TCL stands for transaction control language. So these are the four types that we have for the SQL statements. The point is how to start, how to study one by one. The first is your DDL. So here is the topic, understanding DDL statements. So data definition language or DDL provides the statements to create, alter and delete database or the tables, because tables are inside the database. So using these commands we can create the database or we can create the tables inside the database. So it works on the structure or the schema. So whenever we are creating some tables, we need to define some structure of the table. What the name of the table, what are the columns in that table, what the data type of them. The term is called structure of the schema. Some of the detailed commands are so create, alter, drop and truncate. Using create command we can create a database or we can create a table. Using alter we can modify structure of a table, but we can't do any modification in database. So here is the drop to delete the database or some table. So it works on both. Truncate command is to remove all the records from the table automatically without specifying any command or something. Just say truncate in table. We'll just see how we can do it. Then we had the DML statements. Understand DML statements. This is called data manipulation language. So it provides the SQL statement which work with the data. Like we want to insert a record, we want to update the record, we want to delete the record or select the records. So mainly it works with the records. And DDL works on structure, and this is for records. So DML statements are like insert, update, delete, select. Insert is to insert a record with to given table. We can update the records in the given table. We can delete the record from the given table. Then we can select the records from given table. This is the objectives of these statements. Then we can have the one more thing called DCL, or say data control language. It is used to give or revoke access rights to the users. This is permission based because security is one of the features of DBMS. So if we want to allow something to some user, so we can suppose you want to give the rights to create table, or you don't want to revoke the access rights to create a table. You want to allow the update the data. You don't want to allow the data or something. So for that, we have the two DCL commands. One is called grant, other is called revoke. If we use grant command, the grant is say provide access right to the user, and revoke is just reverse of it. So withdraws, so access right to the database. This is the main objective. So whenever somebody uses DCL, DCL stands for data control language to control the access rights. And access rights could be the two commands grant or revoke. This is to allow and this is to revoke the permissions. Then we say fourth one, the last one called TCL, or say transaction control language. So here is what is the need of TCL. So when we try to insert, update or read the data, maybe the operation get failed. If something goes wrong, there should not be any change in the database to maintain the integrity of data, which is the most important part of DBMS, to maintain the integrity of data. Transaction control language provides the statement to manage the transaction to be complete or nothing to do at all. So if some changes has been done, they should not be committed to the database. So this is how handled by TCL. So TCL provides the statements to handle the transaction management. So these are some more statements, but these are two main statements. One is called commit, other is called rollback. Role purpose of commit is to save the change in the database and end the transaction. Second is rollback. If something goes wrong, there should be rollback. So this is called undo to the changes that are normally committed and end the transaction. So two important commands, commit and rollback. This is all part of transaction control. This thing is called transaction control language, TCL. Once we start something about database, the first thing comes in the mind is entity. Entity is something which we manage the data. So if we see the basic idea of the entity, what is entity? So entity is something about which we collect and manage some information. The properties associated with the entity are called as attributes. This is one more important thing. For example, if we take in a student is an entity because we are managing some data about the students, we are managing the data of the employees, the books or something. So student is an entity having attributes like we can have the roll number, the name, course, fees, and so many other things. We can have a book as an entity, then having attributes like book number, title, author, price, etc. Then we can have an employee as again an entity having attributes like we can employee ID, we can have the name, as a designation, etc. So these are all entities. So entity, we may have about the noun, definition noun, person, place of thing. So the same thing allows applied on entity also. So entity is something about we collect some information. Then point is, what is database? So database is a related set of tables. We not only have the tables, we can have some more items. We can have the views, we can store procedures, we can have the triggers, and all these things comes as part of database. So database is related set of tables, views, stored procedures, triggers, etc. about an organization. Because every organization has a different database and they have a different set of tables, but they're interlinked tables. So for example, if you see user using AKTU ERP, this is the organization is AKTU. And AKTU contains the software, this is generally called AKTU ERP. Suppose we are just assuming AKTU ERP is the database which is managed for AKTU University. Then contains which can data tables and other elements which maintain the data of all affiliated colleges, their students, their faculty members, their examinations, maybe some spelling it wrong, yeah, teacher check it, and much more. Then come the point, what is the table? Because database contains a set of tables. So table contains a set of records about an entity. So the records are also called as rows, or it's a technical word is called tuples. So table is made of rows and columns. So the tabular data you may heard about, every tabular data is generally made of rows and columns. So the table is made of rows and columns. So each table contains a set of columns representing attributes of an entity. Then every column can manage a specific type of data. So very important. So we need to define the data type for the column along with the maximum allowed size for that column. So whenever we are getting some structure or schema about a table, basically we are talking about some entity. And every entity has certain set of attributes, and every attribute is a kind of data, and the kind of data should be represented by the data type. And what maximum size we want to allow for that particular column. So this is again important thing. So here comes to the point, what's the data type? So data type, the special keywords defined by SQL to represent the type of data we want to store in some column of a table. It's again very, very important. So Oracle SQL provide different data types. First is called char, second is called varchar, third is called number. Fourth is called date. We have some more types which we are not covered in this called CLOB, BLOB. BLOB is the binary large object. CLOB is character large objects, which are not related to this MBA course. So we are not mentioned it, but we go to database specific courses for the engineering or something. We can cover in that. If you want more, we can send me the email that's given in the last slide. So we'll give the more information if you want. Then come the point, what is data dictionary? So when we define data structures or the schema of a table, it is also called data dictionary. Something like, say example, suppose we are writing we want to insert some data about some books in the library. So we can have the book number, we can have the title, we can author, we can have the price. For the book number, we want the data has to be numeric. And suppose we have the certain books, or say up to the books of 9,999. So that's a 4 nines. 4 nines the size becomes 4. So maximum size becomes, so 4 means we can have maximum size of 4 nines. So this is from 1 to 9,999. So here is the varchar. Varchar is 50. So type varchar is here is one more important thing is char is used for the fixed length of data, like pin code, mobile numbers. Like a mobile number is always 10 digits, pin code is 6 or 8 digits. They are all fixed length of data. Varchar is a dynamic length of data. So like name, that could be small, that could be big. And the difference is, suppose you are putting a char. Char is for 20 characters and you are putting data only 5 characters. So your 15 characters will be taken by default as space, which is not taken in case of varchar. So this is space saving. But we try to access the data. So in case of try to access the data, char access is faster. So whenever we are using some fixed length of data, we always use char. And whenever we are using variable length of data or dynamic data, we use varchar. This is one more important thing you need to remember. So here is the title. Title is of the big size. So we have to take varchar instead of char. So size. So we thought of the maximum size we want to allow is for the 50 characters. So we are given 50. You can change it as your choice. Suppose we want author name to be again to the varchar of the 50 and the price of the book as a number. But the price can have the decimal points also. So what we have to do? We have to mention the second as the how many number decimal places we want to allow. Here is the size we have mentioned is 6, 2. That means what? So total we can have the 6, total length is 6, which includes 2 decimal points. So here the 6 nines means total length is 6, including 2 decimal points. So what maximum size we can have? So if we say 6 is not the left side area, this is 6 is the total length. So here the 2 decimal point is and 4 are non-decimal points. So here is the point, the maximum amount that we can put over here is 9,999.99. You need to remember this thing. 6 is all inclusive nines. Okay, 2 other decimal points. Now here comes the point, what is the constraint? Constraint the rules basically. So the constraints are the rules to be applied on certain columns in the database table. For example, we can have book number, but for the book number it cannot be blank and it cannot be duplicate. See in the library, every book has a unique code. So and whenever putting some data, every book has to assign some unique number. So book number cannot be null, cannot be blank, or cannot be duplicate. Title cannot be blank. Price we want it should not be it cannot be 0, or it should be more than 0, or whatever we want to apply some certain conditions. We call constraints or the rules. But the thing is how to apply these rules. SQL provide different keywords to define such rules. So first keyword is called primary key, but there's a space between this. Remember, it's a primary space key. So whenever we want to use, what is the use of primary key? So if we want certain column that cannot be blank or that cannot be duplicate, both the situations is called as primary key. In this, see the last example, book number. What we want, it should not be blank or it cannot be duplicate. That is means what? It is called primary key. Second is called not null. It cannot be blank. Suppose we want a column that should not be null. Should not be null. Take an example of title. What we are saying, we cannot be blank. So that means this is a not null. Suppose we want something that is always unique, like in case of mobile number or in case of email. So what we can, we want the once your email is already given, so it should automatically check if something is wrong. So somebody tries to put a duplicate email again, it should generate some error. So we can have the unique constraint. Then we can have the check to define certain condition. Suppose we want the amount has to be greater than 0. So what we have to do? We have to put a check condition. Then we can the foreign key. So suppose sometimes we can have the multiple tables. and we want to relate the two or more tables together. So in that case, one table will have the primary key and second table will have foreign key. So this is the topic will be discussed in second video. Not that's not covered in this video, but we could second video. What is the use of foreign key and primary key? Then we can have the default. Default is used when we are putting some default values, no data grid provided. So these are different rules or the constraints that generally use in database while adding data. So this is generally used when we create a data dictionary. So point is how to apply the constraints. Take this example. Book number 4, but book number has to be unique and it should not be blank and it should be always unique. So that is known as primary key. The constraint is primary key. Title should not be blank. So the keyword is not null. Author, we not applied anything on null, so author can be null. The price, on the price we have the constraint. The price has to be more than 0. It should never be 0 or less than 0. So we are putting a check constraint, check, and always use these brackets. And then the condition is price, this greater than symbol, price should be greater than 0. So this is the structure, the schema. The point is how to create a table based on the requirements. To create a table, we need a create table statement of SQL. The point is how. The syntax. Syntax means how to apply certain commands, the way to use it. It's not actual command actually. It is simply the way to use it. So here is create table, then table name, then define the column name, then define style, then size. Size is not always required. Just take an example of dates. We don't need any type. Any size here. So here is column type, then column name, then type, then size, then again column name, then type, then size, like this. So we can give hundreds of columns. Then here is example. Suppose we say create table book. Book number, here is the number 4, then primary key, then title, this is varchar 50, the constraint is not null. Then we can author, size, the type is varchar, size is 50, then with the price is number 6, 6,2, and the check constraint we have put it, this is price greater than equal to 0, and close the bracket and put a semicolon in the last to close the statement. So this is the real example to create a book table. This is just an idea how we can use this called as syntax. Then point is how to use these commands. So where can I test these commands? It's very important. Sometimes because we are using all these, so we must be installing all this software and installing and downloading Oracle and this configuring Oracle is a very tedious task, for especially for management students. Technical students can maybe they can do better, but MBA student not supposed to do each and everything. So what we can do here is Oracle provides an online system where we can use or run all SQL statement, do the practice. So there's no need to install anything now. So you need to visit the website from Oracle and log into it. The website URL I've given here is https://livesql.oracle.com. This is from Oracle itself. So when you give this URL, you will see this kind of web page. See here. This web page says learn and share. This will give the tutorial also. The SQL tutorials also available in this. Very good tutorials available in this. So we can directly go to this. When you open this URL, you will find this kind of web page. And if you go here, here is a login button. It's a login in. Once you click on the login in button, you see how to log in this. You will get this page. If you have your email ID, registered email ID, you can give this email ID, put your password and go to sign in. But because you are just starting right now, maybe you don't have a heavy account, here is a button given, create account button. So here is click on the sign up button, you will get the following web page. Then if you don't have the Oracle account, you need to create a create button. So that's I have given here. So you can just have all this create account. When you click on the create account, you will get a page where you put your email address, your password, your country, your first name, last name. This is a registration page. So fill the given information and create a portal account. Once the account get created, again go back to this page and then again choose the login, and after getting login you move inside of it. So once you are inside, you want to start writing your code, you just simply click on start coding now. So once you click on start coding now, you will get this text box where you can write your commands. So here the point is how to work with SQL Worksheet, because this thing is called SQL Worksheet. Now we can get SQL text box where you can type SQL statement and then run. To run this command, whatever you're typing here, you just click on this run button to execute the statements. I think things are very much clear in this. Then here is the actual command that we want. So here is create book table. So what we are, type the following code. So what we are giving, create table, table is book, book number. So all this command, real command, if we type in this box and click on the run button, it says table has been created. Getting the point? So here is the create table, table name is book, book number, then type, then size, then constraint, then again the column name, then the type, then size, then constraint, and here again column name, data type, then size. We have not applied any constraint on this. Then price, price is number, scope, then check the constraint where price has to always be greater than 0. So no negative or 0 amount is allowed. Point is how to insert the data into the table, because once the structure is ready, you can insert your records. So once the table is created, you can insert the records inside the table. So for that, we have the command is known as insert command. So use insert command to insert the records into a table. What we do? Here's one important rule to remember. Enclose the date, care and where data in single quotes. See this example. Here is the syntax first. See the syntax. Insert into, then table name, then values. Insert into, this is a keyword. Table name is our table, this is not a keyword. Then values, this is again keyword. And here we need to provide all the values depending on the number of columns we have. For this example, see this real example. Insert into, then book, then values. The book is our table. Then we have the four columns in that. So book number, suppose we are taking 101. Book title is C Programming, and here is myself, Dr. V.P. Sharma, because I have the C books also. If you want a very good book of C, then we can share it. This is coming shortly on Amazon also for the sale. So this is Dr. B.P. Sharma, and suppose price is 230 rupees and 50 paisa. And now we can test it. So we write this command in your worksheet, the same command, and you just click on the run button. You will get the one row has been inserted. You can do the practice using given URL and other things. How to view the records? Point is, once the record gets inserted, we will know how to fetch it. So for that, to fetch the records, we have select commands. Use select statement to view the records. So you can view all of selected columns from the table. This depends on you. Here are the two syntaxes. Syntax 1, select star from table name. That means you can select all the columns from the table. Then here is the second, select syntax number 2, select then column number 1, column number 2 like that, and from the table. See this example. Show all the records in the book table with all columns. So all column is star. So suppose if I type the same command here, select star from book and click on the run button, you see here. I've inserted two records like this, earlier one. So here is 10 C programming to VB Sharma, 102 Java programming, James Gosling, prices 430, like that. So records are directly visible here. Suppose you don't want all the columns, but you want specific columns. Suppose here we want only book number and title. This was selected columns. So if we issue this command again and click on the run button again, you will find only two columns. So I think things are going to be very much clear. If you do the practice and go to the URL and other things, you will be getting the things. And second and foremost, most important, you can whatever, if you need, you have some questions, you can send it on my email ID. And one most important thing, I have uploaded this full PDF of this video. This available in this URL. You can type this URL directly in your web browser, and you can download this PDF file, and you can get all these contents and all these commands. You can do the practice directly in this. Thank you, friends. Meet you very soon in next video. Thanks.